Hi there. In this video, we're going to look at job descriptions. We will find out where we can look for them and what are some of the important parts we should look for when reading them. When you begin looking for a job, you're probably going to search for jobs in job advertisements. You will usually find these advertisements in newspapers and on internet job sites. So we will take a closer look at an example of this kind of advertisement and decide what you should look for when reading it. When you begin your job search, you might first look for jobs in a local newspaper where you live. In the United States, many newspapers are now online, and you can find many jobs there. There are also websites that focus only on jobs, like in the US, Monster.com. Also, many larger companies have information on their websites about job openings. So you can go directly to the website of the company where you'd like to work. You will probably start by looking in one, some, or all of these places for a job. It is normal to try and narrow your job search to the field or area where you want to work or where you have training. For example, school teacher or office receptionist or truck driver or nurse. This way, you can match yourself with jobs that you are more likely prepared for, and therefore you will have a better chance of getting an interview. So, when searching through job advertisements, look for job titles related to your area of training, experience, or interest. So now, let's look at some of the parts of a job advertisement. Say I am interested in helping people and I am an organized person. I want to work in an office environment with other people. I find this job advertisement for a client services coordinator, and I wonder, am I qualified to apply for it? Qualified means having the minimum requirements to do a job. For example, in one job, this might mean you need to have a university degree. In another job, it might mean you have to have a license or a certification in a particular area, like driving a truck or being a nurse. How do you know what qualifications are needed? Well, the advertisement should clearly say this. It may say qualifications or requirements. Let's look at this ad and see what qualifications are required. Can you see where the qualifications are? That's right. Under the title Requirements, there is a list of 6 things. Number 1 is a qualification. Number 2 is work experience. Numbers 3 through 6 are skills. Things that you are able to do, like typing, good communication, and being organized. The next question I should ask is, what duties or responsibilities will I have to perform in this job? Duties and responsibilities are tasks that I do regularly in a job. Can you see what these are in this job advertisement? Let's take a look again and see. In this job, the responsibilities are listed in the opening paragraph. They include greeting clients, answering telephones, performing other clerical functions. The word clerical means relating to working in an office. If this job still seems like one I can do because I'm qualified and I can perform the duties and responsibilities well, then what do I need to do to apply for the job? Apply means to put yourself forward formally for a job. Let's take one final look at the job advertisement and look for this information. Can you find it? That's right. At the bottom it says, fax or email your resume to Pablo Cavero, and it gives his fax number and email address. So, if I want to apply for this position, I will send him my resume along with a cover letter. In Units 2 and 3, we'll help you prepare these two important things. So, in this video, we've talked about where you can find a job advertisement, what are the most important parts of a job advertisement, and how can we apply for a job we are interested and qualified for. Next, we'll play a game to help us practice some of the vocabulary we've looked at in this video.
Hello! In this video, we're going to talk about ways to compare different things in speaking. In English, we use certain phrases to discuss things that are similar or different. We often use these phrases as a way to describe two or more people, places, experiences, or things. Let's begin by talking about phrases used to compare two things. To compare things is to talk about ways two things are the same. Here are some examples of phrases to compare the similarities of two jobs and two places for job training. We'll look at an example first, talk about the grammar structure, and then use it in another example. Phrase number 1. Are similar because. Doctors and teachers are similar because they work with people. The two nouns being compared are doctors and teachers in green. Then you see the phrase are similar because in purple, followed by the independent clause, they work with people. An independent clause is a complete sentence that has a subject and a verb. In this example, the independent clause has a subject, they, and a verb, work. Here is another example comparing two places for education, community colleges and universities. Using the same structure, the sentence would look like this. Community colleges and universities are similar because they offer courses in sciences and humanities. Notice that the independent clause in red has a subject, they, and a verb, offer. Phrase number 2, have something in common. Doctors and teachers have skills and interests in common. Again, the two nouns being compared are doctors and teachers in green. Then you see the phrase, have blank in common, in purple. The nouns, skills and interests, go in the middle of the phrase. It is important to note that you must use at least one noun in the middle of this phrase. Here's another example of the phrase, have in common. Community colleges and universities have science and humanities courses in common. Phrase number 3, both and. Both doctors and teachers work with people to help them. This sentence begins with the word both in purple, followed by the two nouns in green, and the verb phrase for more explanation. The verb phrase is very important because it explains how the two things are similar. Here's another example using the phrase both and. Both universities and community colleges offer courses in sciences and humanities. So, Let's review the three phrases to compare people, places, experiences, or things. 1. Are similar because. 2. Have something in common. And 3. Both and. Remember that speakers use these phrases to make their ideas clearer and to explain how two things are similar. In the next video, we will look at some phrases to contrast the differences between two things.
Hello. In this video, we're going to talk about ways to contrast different things in speaking. We use certain phrases to discuss things that are similar or different. We often use these phrases as a way to explain the differences between two or more people, places, experiences, or things. Let's look at three phrases used to contrast two things. To contrast things is to talk about how they are different. For example, to show how doctors and teachers are different, we might say, phrase number 1, are different because. Doctors and teachers are different because they each need a special degree. The two nouns being contrasted are doctors and teachers in green. Then you see the phrase are different because in purple, followed by the independent clause, they each need a special degree. Remember that an independent clause is a complete sentence with a subject, they, and a verb, need. Here is another example contrasting community colleges and universities. Community colleges and universities are different because they offer different types of degrees. Phrase number 2 is unlike. Unlike doctors, many teachers complete their university degree in 4 years. This sentence begins with the phrase of contrast unlike in purple, followed by the first noun doctors in green. Then the second noun is said with a verb phrase for more explanation of how the two things are different. Here's another example using unlike. Unlike community colleges, universities offer master's degrees and doctoral degrees. Phrase number 3 is using but or whereas. Doctors may take 10 years to finish their education, but teachers finish in 4 to 6 years. In this sentence, each noun in green is part of an independent clause that explains how the two things are different. The word but or whereas goes in the middle of the sentence and shows that there is a difference. But is more commonly used in casual speaking. Whereas has the same meaning, it just sounds more formal. Community colleges offer associate's degrees, whereas universities offer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Using whereas makes this sentence sound more formal. Let's review the 3 phrases to contrast people, places, experiences, or things. 1. Are different because. 2. Unlike. 3. But or whereas. To summarize, there are certain phrases to compare and contrast how things are similar and different. Often, speakers use these phrases to make their ideas clearer. Now, you will go on to listen to a news report about how job seekers are using the internet and social media websites to search for jobs. As you listen, think about how internet job searching is the same or different in your home country.